to WrestleMania has been a controversial one already, and we're not even at the Royal Rumble yet. Roman Reigns finds himself in a fatal four-way match with Randy Orton, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. The Rock is back in WWE and called out the head of the table. Cody Rhodes still wants to finish his story. WWE Creative has now canceled plans for Roman Reigns, and we will discuss what those are right here on OTS. Also, Matt Riddle seemingly called out Bill Goldberg with a huge tease about the match potentially taking place within AEW, and major Royal Rumble surprises that Triple H has lined up for the 30-man over-the-top rope Battle Royal. All this, plus so much more right here on today's Off the Script. And we will start with Matt Riddle. I would love to work with Bill Goldberg. If it was ever going to happen, it would probably be within AEW. Oh my goodness, man. Can you imagine if this match takes place in AEW? Matt Riddle commented potentially on working with Bill Goldberg. Now, yesterday we talked about Matt Riddle in regards to what he thought about Brock Lesnar within a Royal Rumble match that Matt Riddle supposedly said he was supposed to win. He mentioned that Brock Lesnar went into business for himself. Today he's talking about Bill Goldberg. Now, Riddle has taken plenty of shots at Bill Goldberg on social media and in interviews throughout the years, and things came to a head during a backstage confrontation at SummerSlam 2019. Since then, Riddle has kept up the jokes, but Riddle did have a positive interaction with Goldberg at Raw in January 2021. Riddle was even said to have found mutual respect and bonded on a plane to Saudi Arabia with Goldberg in 2021. With Riddle and Goldberg now both being free agents, one fan asked during the same interview in which he mentioned Brock Lesnar going into business for himself if they might end up working together. I don't want to give too much away, he says. I personally would love to work with William. I think William Goldberg would be a great match. I think I could get something out of him that people haven't seen in years. Now, I think Riddle's a great wrestler, but I think we're ribbing on that one. I don't think Goldberg has much left to give at all in pro wrestling. I think it would be great for business. The fact that he used great already in 2 sentences has me quite concerned. I know it'd be good for me. At the end of the day, if he wants to do it, he'll do it. If he needs to do it, he'll do it. There would be a couple of places that we could do that. Maybe AEW, maybe TNA, maybe New Japan. If it was going to happen, it would probably be with AEW, end quote. Did Matt Riddle just basically give away that Tony Khan is working with Bill Goldberg to give us Goldberg and Matt Riddle at some point within AEW in 2024? People already think that Goldberg is going to end up in AEW and have a retirement tour after Sting retires within AEW at Revolution on March 3rd. People already think that Riddle will eventually end up in AEW by the time he finishes working with New Japan and MLW. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but the fact that this is out there and the fact that Matt Riddle began this statement saying, well, I don't want to give too much away. And then he said at the end of it, well, if it was going to happen, it's probably going to be within AEW. Well, it's not happening in WWE. It's not happening with TNA. It's not happening in New Japan. There's only one place that this match, if it does take place, one place where it will happen, would happen, could happen, and that's AEW. Again, I don't want to jump on the bandwagon here, but I don't really have any interest in seeing Goldberg and Matt Riddle in the ring together at all. Matt Riddle, I'd love to see within AEW when the time is right if he could keep his head on straight. But this match, no thank you. I think we all will pass on that one. But who knows what Tony Khan's got in mind? He's one sick motherfucker. Who knows what this guy's got planned for All In? I mean, this is the type of match that we could realistically see at All In at Wembley this year. So we'll see what happens. Backstage news on why WWE nixed original Royal Rumble plans for Roman Reigns. On Friday's episode of SmackDown, Roman Reigns and the rest of the Bloodline interfered in a triple threat main event where LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton battled it out to see who would challenge Roman Reigns for the undisputed heavyweight championship at the Royal Rumble on Saturday, January 27th in Tampa, Florida. As a result of this no contest, SmackDown GM Adam Pearce announced that Reigns would defend his title against all three. Oh, not Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis. I'm sorry, man. Nick Aldis. SmackDown GM Nick Aldis announced that they would all wrestle in a fatal four-way match. So we have LA Knight, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns, all for the undisputed championship. This comes after Reigns beat Knight to retain his championship in November at Crown Jewel. Originally coming out of Survivor Series that same month, it was reported that the plan for Reigns versus Orton was to happen at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, plans changed. If you guys have been listening to me for the last several weeks, you know exactly why the plans changed. They didn't want Randy Orton to be beaten so early after coming back for the first time in 18 months. What good would that do Randy Orton? Randy Orton is so much better than that to have him be just another name to feed to Roman Reigns. While speaking on the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez talked about the Fatal 4-Way match where it was noted that WWE didn't want to beat Orton this soon into his return. So by having LA Knight and AJ Styles in the match, it gives them someone other than Orton to beat so they can later book Orton versus Reigns at another PLE. Alvarez says, and I quote, "So what they want here is that no one believes anyone's beating Roman Reigns. And they're not going to believe this either. But I think the idea is it's a fatal four-way. You know, maybe somebody will pin somebody else or whatever. So they're trying to find something." Meltzer then says, "So the actual deal here is the original idea was Roman versus Randy at the Rumble. Essentially, there were parties involved who did not want to beat Randy Orton this early. Duh. And just felt like there's money to be made with Randy Orton and Roman in a program at some point. But it's too soon to do that. But LA Knight just got beat at Crown Jewel, and AJ hasn't been strong enough. I think AJ was the guy that they probably would want to take the pin. Roman can beat him. I mean, I presume AJ is the one that's going to lose. Maybe not. It could be LA Knight. But the basic gist was that AJ gives them someone they can beat." End quote. Very, very simple. I mean, I don't really need to go into why this isn't Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. What this accomplishes is WWE spares Randy Orton an unnecessary loss. And then on top of that, WWE adds maybe a dash of unpredictability because there are geeks out there that tend to believe, well, this may be WWE booking themselves to take the title off of Roman Reigns without being pinned, so Randy Orton can wrestle Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. No, that's an awful idea. Randy has nothing to do with Cody Rhodes and his finish the story narrative. Randy Orton is a babyface. Why do you want him to return so soon by being a babyface only to turn him heel in a program that he's clearly not ready for yet, that Cody's not ready for yet? Why do you want Roman losing the championship in a fatal four-way without taking a pin? The reason why they did this, they had all this shit up. That's why they did the fatal four-way. WrestleMania season looks to be very interesting. Looks to be very controversial. This is paint-by-numbers shit. Why do they do a fatal four-way? Because they don't want Randy Orton in a one-on-one match against Roman Reigns to lose, because Roman isn't losing the title before WrestleMania, before he drops the title to Cody Rhodes, which is going to be the main event of WrestleMania 40, and you're going to get Rock versus Roman at the Chamber in Australia. Any more questions? Now, the only thing I wonder is, are you going to care about a Roman-Randy feud without the championship being on the line? Maybe after Roman drops the title to Cody Rhodes, maybe Randy beating Roman should be a way to kind of pay back for Roman Reigns, or what they did, I should say, for Roman Reigns. Maybe it's a great way for Roman to pay back by beating everybody the last 4 years. If Roman doesn't have the championship and then they end up doing that match, it's a little bit easier to digest if you're WWE to give Roman a loss to Randy Orton without the championship being on the line, because we would have been there, done that. Then maybe Randy moves on to Cody Rhodes. SummerSlam, WrestleMania 41. Who knows what the narrative is going to be after WrestleMania? We'll find out. But that's the reason why they didn't do a one-on-one match and opted for a fatal four-way. And finally, guys, potential spoilers. If you guys don't want to hear who's going to be in the Royal Rumble, please click away. Don't worry. It's not anybody of real importance or note, so you can stay. I don't want you to go anywhere. Potential spoilers on returning names for the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is the mecca of who's coming back, who's returning, who did WWE pick up in free agency that's going to make their debut, etc., etc. Previously announced for the match, for the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches, with fans learning each week that we've got this name in there and that name in there. They haven't really divulged too much here. So far, we got Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Bobby Lashley. And the women's match announced so far, Bayley, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, and Bianca Belair. Also on tap, obviously, like I mentioned, the Fatal 4-Way with Roman Reigns defending his championship. And every year, WWE has surprise entrants in the Rumble matches, and this year is no different. PW Insiders reporting that X-Pac, Sean Waltman, Naomi, and Liv Morgan are to be in the Royal Rumble as surprises. Morgan is expected to return soon from injury that has kept her sidelined since last summer, while Naomi is expected to finish up with TNA Wrestling this month after Hard to Kill before returning to WWE. Waltman, a WWE Hall of Famer, has been spotted at the Performance Center this week, and there was talk he would be in Florida for WWE over Royal Rumble weekend. Nothing really major there. We know Naomi's on her way back. It'll be great to see her there. Liv Morgan, I have gone out there on record to say that my top 3 picks for the Royal Rumble this year, Becky Lynch, obvious. Bayley, obvious. And then you have Liv Morgan in my top 3. I've said this for weeks now as a dark horse pick because there is long-term booking situations in play with Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. I'm not saying that this is going to be the case, but if Triple H wanted to tie this all up in a nice big box, put a pretty little red bow on top, Liv Morgan coming back to seek revenge on Rhea Ripley, who put her out before she went away for a little bit, that would be long-term booking during WrestleMania season. I know the Liv Morgan stands out there would love that, but I don't really find that to be a WrestleMania match. Bayley or Becky Lynch is more of the probability here for the Royal Rumble. I could see Bianca Belair win it. Who knows who's going to be in the Rumble as a surprise for the ladies? Naomi is a surprise. I could see, I don't want to put it out there, but I've been saying for a couple weeks now as well, I could see AJ Lee as a surprise in the Royal Rumble. I could. Maybe a one-off. I know with Punk back, I know WWE would love to fucking stick it and get AJ in the Royal Rumble as well. I could see Tiffany Stratton in the Royal Rumble. I could see Jade Cargill in the Royal Rumble. There is going to be a lot of focus on the women this year. And I think the Women's Royal Rumble is probably going to be the best Women's Rumble that we've seen so far up until this point. Sasha Banks, obviously, always a possibility. We'll find out what happens there. If she doesn't debut, if she doesn't debut with AEW in the next 2.5 weeks, and we are quiet on that front, and we go into Royal Rumble without her being on AEW television, there's a real possibility that Mercedes is going to be in the Royal Rumble as well. So we'll wait on that. As for the men, I could see guys like Braun Breaker from NXT. I could see, I don't want to put it out there as far as surprises go, but this is probably a guarantee. I could see Andrade back in WWE. I mean, I would wait for him to debut with the company again in the Royal Rumble. So we'll probably get that. But the thing with the men is you're not going to need a lot of surprises. Triple H doesn't really need to rely on surprises. Vince relied on surprises because he hated half the fucking roster he employed, and he only had a select few people that he really wanted to push. Everybody else was just there, and they were collecting a paycheck. Triple H wants to make a lot of what his roster is right now meaningful, and he doesn't rely on surprises. He never relied on surprises. Triple H has built one hell of a roster where we don't need to go into the Royal Rumble with surprises. Surprises don't make the Royal Rumble, a memorable match. What makes the memories in the Royal Rumble, what makes the Rumble a memorable match is, yes, surprises are great, but it comes down to the fucking epic clash of who's there, who's going to WrestleMania. Look at all the top names that the WWE has, especially on the men's side this year in the Royal Rumble. It's anybody's game. That's what's going to make it a memorable Royal Rumble. That's what's going to really stick out as far as what people remember by the end of the night. And I love it. He doesn't have to rely too much on surprises. I'm not saying he can't have surprises. Maybe one, maybe two. But he's got so much talent on the main roster and so much talent in NXT ready to burst out. Put Carmelo Hayes in the Royal Rumble. Give him a good 15, 20 minutes. Put Braun Breaker in the Royal Rumble. Show everybody what he can do. Spear, jackhammer, fucking Frankensteiner. Just have Braun Breaker run roughshod for about 10 minutes. It's a great look. Andrade coming back is a surprise. Sean Waltman's fine. He wants to do a favor for a good buddy of his. Whatever. But keep it simple. Keep it with what you got right now and build the Royal Rumble and how big it could be with the existing main event talent that you got there right now. I'm very much looking forward to what they got planned, and that is what Triple H right now is working with for the men's and women's Royal Rumble. Thank you guys very much for all of your support. If you did miss any of the content this week, and my God, it's been a big week. We were live on Monday. We were live on Tuesday with Tuesday Night Titans episode 29. Myself and Andrew Begdala going over the Tony Khan meltdown on social media over Jinder Mahal getting a world championship match against Seth Rollins next week on Monday Night Raw. Jesse and I will continue that discussion tonight as Jesse returns to the venue for the AEW Dynamite post show right here on Off the Script. Make sure you guys go check out all the content on the channel. Everything you need is on the homepage. Hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes right here on OTS. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications and follow me on social media on X at JD from NY206. Also on Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Thank you guys very much. I will see you guys tonight in the venue live for the AEW Dynamite post show right here on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later.